welcome to day 6 of National Podcast Post Month here on the Spotlight. I am Ben Beck, your host of the program, and this one's going to be a lot of fun. This is the first of my stacked episodes, as I'm calling them, meaning I have taken a couple different past conversations and I've stacked them because they all have something in common. And it's a Friday. It's Friday, November 6th. I saved this one on a Friday to take you into the weekend. And that's pretty much how I'm going to do it. I have a couple stacked ones coming this month throughout the 30 days of November, and I'm saving most of them for Fridays. So this one is a blast. If you've ever been familiar with Mystery Science Theater 3000 and you're not aware, Mike Nelson, Kevin Murphy, Bill Corbitt, 3 guys behind RiffTrax. This is the continuation of Mystery Science Theater, except with some more modern movies, which is really cool. I've had the opportunity to have all 3 of them on the podcast over the past couple seasons, and that's basically what you're going to hear. This one's going to run a little over an hour because, again, it's 3 different interviews. But yeah, I'm just going to take you right into it and let you listen. Enjoy this one with Kevin Murphy, Mike Nelson, and Bill Corbitt of RiffTrax. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another guest spotlight right here on Next Level Radio. I am Ben Beck, joined by my co-host Adam Gorey, and to say we are excited to speak with our guest tonight would be a major understatement. So, going back to about 1995, 1996, I remember sitting on my couch, flipping through the channels one night, and I came across this really horrible movie called Alien from LA, starring Kathy Ireland. Except something was different about it this time. There was some added commentary, and that added commentary was coming from 3 silhouettes at the bottom of the screen. And the commentary that was coming from these 3 silhouettes were hysterical. Thus, my love for Mystery Science Theater 3000, the television show, was born. And now, even though the show is no longer on the air, the humor is still going strong with RiffTrax, which was created by some of the creators of Mystery Science Theater 3000. And tonight, we are joined by one of the creators and one of the current members of RiffTrax. Again, allow me to hold back my excitement just a little bit. We welcome to the show Mr. Kevin Murphy. Kevin, how are you this evening?
Ben, Adam, I am swell, and thank you for having me on your show.
It is an absolute pleasure. As I said, you probably are able to guess, I'm a huge fan. I came across Mystery Science Theater purely by accident, but I became an instant fan, and I've been a fan ever since.
The first episode you saw was Alien from LA, and you still stuck with the show.
Yes,
wow.
was Alien from LA, and I stuck with it.
That was a bad one.
It was, but you know what? I think that's what makes it so great, is the fact that it was bad, but it just... Sometimes the bad, the better.
It's true.
So, I've been a fan for years, and it's one of those things that, as weird as it may seem, and it's so different, the show itself was so different that, at least in my case, it's one of those things you always remember your first.
Sure.
And, and Mystery and Alien from LA was my first, so I do remember that.
Well, yeah, I think I can safely say that there was nothing like it on television at the time. I remember one of the inspirations for the show in the first place with Joel was we all grew up with these hosted movies, creature features, or Elvira. In Chicago, we had this guy named Sven Gulli who'd come out, and they wouldn't take any of this stuff seriously. And they would host the show, and then Joel just sort of said, well, why don't we just bring that one step further and bring the movie host into the theater to watch the movie with you? And that's simply what it was born out of. And what it generated into was something that everybody does anyway, which is talking back to your TV set. Yeah.
Yeah, I know personally when I'm watching movies, sometimes, I try not to talk too much during movies, but sometimes there's little snippy comments you make. I nowhere near able to make as many as you guys do, and at least funny ones. Mine are probably terribly stupid.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I remember when I was younger, I'm only 27, so I remember when I was younger watching Mystery Science Theater with my dad. And that's always a memory I'll have. How does it feel, knowing that you're a part of people's memories and essentially, kind of part of their family in a way?
It's really cool. It's sort of humbling. It's freaky and wonderful because I grew up with, I call them pajama shows. You know, you'd come down the stairs on Saturday morning before your dad would make you go out and mow the lawn, and you'd sit in your pajamas and watch these dumb shows. Or you'd stay up late and watch and do the same thing. But
Right.
they're pajama shows. They're just things that you'd goof off to, and you'd remember them, and they'd have this lasting impression on your childhood, probably more than just about any other programming. So that's what Mystery Science Theater is for a lot of people, and that's really kind of cool. And Adam, to hear you say that you started watching with your dad or with your parents is so great. I keep on meeting people when we go to events and conventions and we do these live shows who are saying, yeah, I started watching it with my father. And now the freaky thing is I'm starting to hear, yeah, I started watching it with my grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, I even I actually spoke to my dad earlier today, and he said that at least where he's at, he still gets a few episodes of Mystery Science Theater on TV once in a while and still watches it when it's on. Our cable doesn't get it, unfortunately. I really wish it did, but
yeah, it's still on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. Okay, well, now getting into the current iteration with RiffTrax that was created back in 2006 and obviously has been going strong with the help of yourself along with Mike Nelson and Bill Corbitt. The only difference now is that you're mainly riffing more modern films, you know, such as Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Marvel catalog, Twilight, Day After Tomorrow, as well as many others. You know, for me personally, with Mystery Science Theater, and you guys kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, I probably would not have watched many of those movies if you guys weren't commenting on them. You know, some of them were just so bad.
Yes.
And with the newer stuff, you know, that I've already seen and loved, a lot of the movies that you guys have been riffing, is it any harder for you personally riffing a movie that you enjoy, or maybe a blockbuster film like The Avengers, compared to some of the really bad movies that are out there?
Well, here, I'll make a distinction. The blockbusters, it depends on the blockbuster, because a Michael Bay film, it's like pulling hairs out of your nose with the tweezers. That's how much those things hurt, because the guy, he can't edit. I'm sorry. You know, he can't. He can barely shoot. He can't edit. You know, it looks like all the pieces were thrown into the air, and then he sort of gathered them up and printed them. And so those are really hard, because with the old films we did, and by the way, RiffTrax, if you look at our site, we actually have a lot of the MST-style cheesy old films now, because people love them so much. We have those, and we have shorts. But then we have these MP3s that you download with a movie, and that's how we get away with that. But the newer the film, the more they try to jam into the scene. You know, there used to be like 4 or 5 edits in a typically cheesy 80s science fiction film. There'll be like 75 edits in a current science fiction film or action film. The films have gotten more frenetic, more frantic, and I think it has to do with the extremely limited attention span that people have these days, where they used to not have that. You know, people would sit down and read Moby Dick. Now they read tweets. So there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
So that's been a challenge. But then we get these beautiful gems like Twilight, which is like, it's like sweet heroin for us. It really is.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's like the perfect sort of film for us.
Yeah, it's hard not to riff it.
Right. And the films we got lined up right now for our live shows, Sharknado, then Godzilla in August, and then hopefully Anaconda in October.
Yeah.
Yeah. Godzilla's going to be the most challenging of all, because it has that sort of frenetic editing to it. But we did a great job of Starship Troopers, so I think we'll have fun with that.
Yeah, I can't wait for Sharknado.
Thanks. It's really helpful, because I don't like any of these films, except for Anaconda. I have this fondness for it because it's a classic old bad film.
Right.
So in that way, yeah, I do have a fondness for it, but it's still fun to take its pants down and laugh at it.
Yeah.
But Sharknado is just, it's wonderful. It's funny because I read all the stuff in the press about this being an intentionally bad film or an ironically bad film, and I don't know if that's true. I mean, the bottom line is, if you set out to make a bad film and you succeed, you still simply made a bad film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And it's sci-fi. It's from sci-fi too, and a lot of their stuff has that kind of.
Yeah, and I read some with a director who talked about his evolution into making these films. and he sounds clueless. And when you watch the film, that makes perfect sense. I mean, he has that. It's actually, I think it's an old Ed Wood editing style where if you have to show some action, what you do is you cut away from the action like 5 or 6 times, and then you pretend that the action just happened.
Yeah.
And that's what Sharknado's all about. You never really see much going on, except for those few glory shots where they had the money to actually, show the sharks eating people. And the rest of it is just like Confusavision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharknado is one of those movies that it's on my list it was on my list to watch just because I had heard how bad it was and I wanted to see it. I wanted to see for myself. But once I heard that you guys were doing the riffing of it in July, I purposely waited. I did not want to see it.
Oh, bless your heart.
Because
Good
I want
for
to.
Yeah, that's what we do. We provide a service for people. We keep Hollywood safe for this crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mean, you guys started talking about the live, the RiffTrax Live. You guys started them back in 2009, and I'm proud to say I have seen all of them.
Wow!
You started with Plan 9 from Outer Space in August of 2009.
Right.
You've done House on Haunted Hill, Reefer Madness, Manos, The Hands of Fate was fantastic.
Thank you.
Night of the Living.
I hate that film. I really, really, really hate that film. Wow.
But what you guys do to it makes people love it, and I think that's the best part.
It is. It's like we use humor for the avoidance of pain.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And Sharknado is a painful film, so it is our job to make the film much less painful.
I was gonna say some of the movies are hard to watch. Without you guys there, at least they would be hard to watch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Does the way you prepare for a riff differ? Like if you were doing it for the studio for the MP3 compared to when you do it for live?
Yeah, it does. When people are in small groups or by themselves in front of the TV, the jokes can be a lot more rapid fire because you can hook into it and you can follow it a lot easier. But when you get to a live audience, we spread it out a little bit more because we want people to have the opportunity to laugh at something and not. I've heard it before when we first started doing this. We had too many jokes sometimes, and you'd hear people, they'd start to laugh, and then they'd stop themselves so they could hear what we were going to say next.
Okay.
And the films don't always cooperate with us. I'd say that the perfect film for us acts like Margaret Dumont does to the Marx Brothers. Sets up the joke, and then we deliver the punchline, and then there's a laugh, and then there's the next one. But the films don't behave that way for us often, except for Twilight, which was perfect.
Well, I know in the case of Night of the Living Dead, trying to do too many jokes at one time so people have to stop laughing. Sometimes that doesn't always occur that way. I know just from a personal experience, and a friend of mine who was with me can definitely attest to this. During Night of the Living Dead, it was one of the stupidest punchlines that you guys had done, and no offense intended. It was just one of the most stupidest things. It was you had Barbara walking towards the wall, and you're just like la, la bonk. That line, I think, floored me for 5 minutes straight. Like I had tears in my eyes. I don't know what it was about that particular line.
I think I can tell you. I have a theory about this. It's exactly what you were thinking at the time we did it.
Most likely, so
It's what you call, in the back of your head somewhere, you had this going on. It's like this Jungian thing. We call them psychic lawn darts. We suddenly hit you with something that you were probably thinking of, and then it's immediately recognizable, and you say, that is exactly the right thing to say at the right time.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it brings the house down, and that was one of those.
Yeah, that was just... It had me floored for at least a good 3 minutes.
It's sticking to Night of the Living Dead. Actually, funny enough, I had never seen that before watching the RiffTrax.
Wow.
But I think what makes some of them are so funny is that you guys are so observant. There was the one scene in the house where he had just said he boarded up all the windows or all the doors and windows, except the window right behind him is completely unboarded, and you
exactly
I think had mentioned that, and it's like I didn't even notice that until you say something, and once you see it, it's so funny.
It is. It's a product of us watching the film over and over and over and sitting with the film. Like I'm sitting with a chunk of this week. I'm sitting with a 15-minute chunk of Sharknado for 6 days.
Oh man!
Watching it over and over and over again. And so I see everything that's going on in the screen and in the editing, and our temptation is to get too minute. But something like that was that's a gimme, and that was perfect because it worked out perfectly.
Now I know we had mentioned, or you had mentioned Starship Troopers earlier on, which actually came about by means of a Kickstarter project.
Right. Yes, it did. It was amazing. And
it was originally supposed to be the Twilight film, but you guys were unable to secure the rights to that. This is the crazy thing. Thanks to the good will of our fans, we asked for $55,000. We raised $240 something. Wow.
We brought that to the studio that owns Twilight, and they said no. They didn't want $250,000 of our fans' money to license this thing.
Yeah.
So, what can I say? Starship Troopers was perfect. It fulfilled the need we had. Someday, I'm hoping, because I think it would be the ultimate experience, I'm going to put on a tuxedo for it. Someday, I'm hoping that we'll be able to riff Twilight in the theater live nationwide like we've been doing.
Well, I mean, I kind of think that Starship Troopers actually turned out a little bit better in the long run, mainly because of the participation of people like Casper Van Dien and Neil Patrick Harris and Dina.
Wasn't that great?
They were tweeting about it, and I think Neil even went to go see it out in L.A. I mean, you would have never got that from Kristen Stewart or Robert Pattinson or anybody else that was in Twilight.
So. No, they'd be home brooding and sitting in the dark.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
What they do, right?
So I think Starship Troopers actually turned out a little bit better for you guys in the long run because they got so much more promotion out of it just from the cast of the movie.
It's true. Yeah, we had all kinds of the folks from the movie doing that, including Jake Busey, and I was happy to hear it. The funny thing is, he was tweeting like mad before the movie, before the live show began, and then I noticed it was really quiet afterwards, so I got a little scared.
He might have just been sitting watching the movie.
He's laughing too hard to type in.
So,
and the other good sport, I'll just say, Dina Meyer, who was she played Dizzy. That's the love interest gets ill giant. But she did the whole thing, and she was a really good sport. Because we were relentless with some of these folks, particularly her. And Jake, due to his teeth, we made a lot of fun of his teeth.
Yeah.
And, and the other guy who turned out to be a good sport is Clancy Brown, who was, he's a great character actor. You've seen him in a lot of things. He was in Highlander, and then you see that face in Starship Troopers and say, oh, yeah, he's in this, and he's in that, and he's in the other thing. And he was a great sport about it. He seems to be just a terrific guy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I know I was actually on vacation during that when that one came about, and my friend who I was on vacation with, we actually ended up driving about 35 minutes away from where we were just to find a theater to go see it.
You get a medal, my friend.
Well, I mean, I love going to them. They're just so much fun, and
thank you.
And they're a full-on experience. I mean, it's not just when you go in, you don't just go in and you see the movie. You have music by the Rifftones playing before the movie. The screens that you have up, like the pre-movie screens that you have up with the absolutely absurd movie trivia and quotes, are hysterical. Yeah. They get the audience laughing before the show even starts.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a perfect warm-up. That's our writers, Connell Lestelka and Sean Thomason. They're the younger ones of us, the people who get what the hell's going on in the world right now. And they write those pre-show slides, and people have started showing up early so that they can see the pre-show.
Oh, I'm one of them.
And that's great, because it's the ultimate warm-up act. It's the best warm-up act we could possibly have, because it hails back to when I was a kid and going to the movies, where you'd have these trivia slides that would just roll by with some innocuous music. And so it's sort of the same thing, except we have spun it around and turned it on its head and made it goofy.
Yeah, I will actually take pictures of them with my phone just so I can go back and read them later.
I love you. I love you.
But I know we mentioned in July, you guys have Sharknado coming out on July 15th, and then you're going to do a second July 10th, and then you're going to do a second showing on the 15th.
That's right. Yep.
Usually you're at
the live one is the 10th. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually you're at the Belcourt Theater, but this time you're actually in Minneapolis.
Well, it's funny. Mike Nelson, after many years in San Diego, where the RiffTrax tech HQ still is, moved back to Minnesota. He's originally from the Midwest, and his wife Bridget is also she's actually from Minnesota, and he moved back. I think he's got sort of fed up with the Southern California weirdness and moved back here. And of course, he moved back during the worst winter in Minnesota's history. And he said it was like three-quarters. It was in April, and it was still like 15 degrees, and we had freezing rain and sleet and snow. And he said, "What the hell did I do?" But he's here, and that's why we're doing it here, is because the three of us are back here in town. And this is where we started. And we actually, back in the Mystery Science Theater days, we did two live shows. One was to a that we did. And we did it at the State Theater, where we're going to be doing it this time. And it's a beautiful theater. It's actually a terrific place to see a movie. So it is sort of like a homecoming for us, we think, after all this time, because, boy, that was almost 20 years ago that we did that live show at the State Theater. So
Wow.
It's really going to be fun to be in front of a hometown crowd and do this. It's going to be great.
Well, one of these days, I will get to where you guys are doing it live, no matter where it is, and I will see one live in person.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
Philadelphia would be great.
I'd love it. No, so you guys are in Pennsylvania? Or in Philly?
Yeah, Philadelphia area.
Cool.
So, now I know I know we're getting ready to wrap things up, but before we do that, we can't go without mentioning the Kickstarter project that you have going on right now.
Thank you.
You've already raised the money to do Godzilla in August.
Yes.
The 1998 version of Godzilla with Matthew Broderick, which I cannot wait.
Yes.
But you've since extended that into a stretch auction, as you're calling it, that if you can get to $250,000, you're going to be able to do Anaconda in October.
That's right. Yes, we are. Yeah, and I Anaconda is it's so near and dear to my heart. I can't tell you, and I think it's just. I think about it. I mean, it's got Jon Voight, J-Lo, Ice Cube, Owen Wilson.
I forgot Owen Wilson was in that.
Eric Stoltz, who was there with John Travolta plunging the needle into his girlfriend's, into Uma Thurman's chest.
Yeah,
in
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. And Danny Trejo. You can't beat it. It's an all-star cast.
That is an all-star cast. I was gonna say.
And I think last I checked, you guys were up to about 175,000.
Yeah, just about 175,000 right now. So we're crossing our fingers, and we're hoping. We really want to make this work, and so we'll be bugging people as much as possible. Anybody who hasn't done it, but I'm thinking that we have a great lineup between now and that show is going to be on October 30th, and this will help us have just a really kick-ass year of these live shows, and it's pretty amazing and humbling that this has happened so far, because we're now getting movies that we only dreamed when we first started doing the live shows back in when we did Plan 9, like 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Just about. We never dreamed that we'd be able to get films like this, and it's through Kickstarter, which is such an amazing thing. It's truly just through Kickstarter we've been able to do this, and the goodwill of our fans.
Yeah, I mean, considering how fast you guys were able to raise the $100,000 for Godzilla, I think I got a good feeling you guys will be able to do Anaconda in October.
Well, thank you. I'm going to keep whoring myself out in order to make this happen.
Well, you already did get some of my money, so I've already.
Oh, God bless.
So.
And the Godzilla timing is perfect, because with the new movie that just came out, it reminded everybody how pretty terrible the '98 version.
There is a more recent Godzilla who the film distressed the Matthew Broderick era Godzilla in the film.
Yeah, I think
it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Well, I know we're getting ready we're getting to the end of our time, but just before we end our interviews, what we like to do is we do what we call our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
They're just a couple questions that we're just going to throw your way. They're pretty easy questions. You don't have to. A lot of people tend to get nervous about them for some reason.
Nope.
So
I'm totally stream of consciousness. It might get loud and dirty. I'm just going to warn you.
Hey, we're fine with that.
That's okay. First one is, what's been your favorite movie to riff, either RiffTrax or Mystery Science Theater?
Oh, wow. Twilight.
Nice.
What movie haven't you riffed yet that would be your dream movie to riff?
Oh, wow. It's that we've gotten to do so many. I want to do, on a live show, Ben Affleck as Daredevil.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And last one, you've obviously worked with a number of celebrities. What celebrity would you like to riff a movie with?
Oh, any one of them who's been with us so far, but Paul F. Tompkins is probably my number one.
Paul F. Tompkins is fantastic. I know he joined you guys with, was it Manos, the live show? Or was it?
He snuck on during House on Haunted Hill, I think it was.
Yeah, I know it was one of them. I couldn't remember. They all tend to blend together now. So I mean,
we've done these. Occasionally done these shows during the San Francisco Sketch Fest at the Castro Theater, and we've done it with Paul F., with John Hodgman, with Kristen Schaal, who was just fantastic.
Yeah.
She was great. Andy Richter, David Cross, Bob Odenkirk. We've just been able to avail ourselves to these incredible comic heroes of ours. And that's been really fun. So, and Weird Al, which is really incredible.
And I think you guys have even done a studio MP3 one with NPH before. I think Neil Patrick Harris has done one with you.
Did Willie and Weird Al did Jurassic Park with Mike. That's a pretty wonderful thing.
Yeah. So
going back to Paul F. Tompkins, he's local to Philly, the Philly guy.
Yes, he is.
I'll always love to hear that.
The bastard has moved out to L.A., but, what can you do?
What a sellout.
Yeah.
No,
I know. No, I love him dearly.
So, well, we definitely want to send people to the Kickstarter page. They can find all the information on your Kickstarter page on your page, which is www.rifftrax.com, Trax, T-R-A-X. They can follow you on Twitter at RiffTrax, or they can follow you personally, KW Murphy, on Twitter. Sharknado is going to be July 10th with a second show, the live show July 10th with a second showing July 15th, and Godzilla is going to be one night only, August 15th.
That's right.
So, I already have my, and you said Anaconda, if you reach the goal, which I believe you will be October 30th?
That's correct.
Okay. I know I already have my tickets to Sharknado. I'm just waiting for tickets to go on sale for Godzilla, so.
Thank you, sir.
I'm a fan. I've been a fan, and I will probably almost always be a fan. So,
well, I appreciate it. We will try our best to keep your fandom.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was definitely I don't use the word lightly, but this was kind of an honor for me.
Oh, cool. Well, it was my pleasure, and thanks for having me on.
To everybody listening, we thank you for joining us this evening. Be sure to check us out, www.nextlevelradioonline.com. Follow us on Twitter at NXTLevelRadio. You can hear a recap of the interview on our live show every Sunday night, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And until then, we will see you around the bend. Take care. All right, everybody, welcome back to the showcast. So last year we had an opportunity to speak with Kevin Murphy over at RiffTrax, RiffTrax.com, about a Kickstarter they launched to raise some funds. They were trying to get the rights to riff the film Starship Troopers, and they were so successful, actually, that they were actually able to riff Anaconda at the same time. 1 year later, another successful Kickstarter campaign later, the guys at RiffTrax have 4 more live events scheduled for 2015, the second of which is coming up in a few weeks, that being Sharknado 2. It's going to happen on July 9th. And this time around, we're joined by yet another crazy member of the RiffTrax gang. Please welcome Mr. Michael J. Nelson. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Hey, it is my pleasure. Great to be here.
I have to say, before we get started, before we go into anything else, I was one of the many who campaigned for it for the longest time to make it happen. Great job on At Midnight last week.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, great bunch of people and very fun to do.
Yeah, you, Kevin, and Bill were just fantastic. I had been tweeting Chris Hardwick and At Midnight for a while, as I know many other people were as well. So I was happy to finally see it happen.
No, it was cool. Thanks for doing it. It really was a blast. Normally we don't, crawl out of our little writing troll caves where we cook up our stuff. So to get out and see actual professional TV again is really fun to do.
Yeah. Now, I've been to every RiffTrax Live you guys have done. I'm a huge fan. I own about 30 of the MP3s. I own quite a few of the DVDs. They've all been fun, hysterical shows. But the last one you did, The Room, which is the first one of your 4-part that you're calling The Crappening this year, which I love. That one to me was by far probably the funniest damn one I have ever been to out of all the ones that you guys have done. I'm sure you guys put a ton of work into everything you do, from writing to the production and everything else. And I know you're always trying to make things better than the last one. But do you ever feel sometimes, especially after one like that sometimes you may have set the bar too high?
Well, first of all, thank you for your patronage, and thank you for the kind words. Sometimes the movie is just such a gift to you. We're sort of, in a lot of cases, stepping in front of a parade, where there's already something cool going on, and we just get to be a part of it. And,
yeah.
And the room is, its own phenomenon. And you're right, it is a lot of hard work, but there are moments in that movie where you just you step back and you almost curate it in a way.
Yeah.
So we won't always be gifted with such wonderful material.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say there were moments in that movie that just kind of riffed themselves. You guys didn't, like you said, you just kind of took a step back and just let the scene happen, and it was more than enough.
Yeah, and it's an interesting phenomenon. We're you're nervous as a comedian and writer, where you want to make sure that people are laughing all the time. That's your instinct. And when something's just funny on the screen, you sometimes feel like, well, they're laughing, but I didn't do that. And then you realize, well, calm down. People are having a great time. So it's just a thing of just realizing that we're all here enjoying this together, and it's, just have fun and relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, and The Room, not the greatest movie ever made, as you can tell. And like you kind of alluded to, I'm sure it's a little bit easier to riff bad movies. What's the trick, though, to riffing like really good ones, or ones that you personally just like to watch and enjoy without having to riff on them? Like, what's the trick to making good, riffs to those?
Well, you have to find a different way in. I mean, people are only going to laugh at things that ring true, and if you're watching a good movie and you're making a joke about, oh, but this is terrible, and it's not going to, people are going to go, what are you talking about? So it's just, it's sort of creating a different way in, whether that's talking about something else or, there are somewhat ridiculous elements to the whole process of all films. There's, people compress time, and they make you suspend your disbelief. And sometimes it's fun to just point those things out, which are not mistakes, obviously. Those are built in. But it's just sort of fun to just kind of play with familiar things that you actually like in a different way.
Yeah. You said that, you guys said that you're quite often in the writer's room, and you're working on, the next riff, whether it be the RiffTrax Live or, any of the ones that you're putting up on the website, RiffTrax.com. When you're doing a live show, how soon before the date of the live show do you actually start your preparation for that particular show?
We used to do it closer to the date, just for scheduling. Now we've just gotten smarter about scheduling it farther out, just to make sure we're on the right track with the script. So we'll just do a draft of it pretty far out, and then we'll just kind of live with it for a while and see how it feels, and slowly revise it. And then it gets more intense as we get towards the actual show date, where then we're really, locking ourselves in a room and just going through it joke by joke. So, but rather than make it super intense, we try to take a pass at it at least a month before. Yeah,
I'd probably assume it's safe to say you're not working on your next one until you're through the first one. So I mean, for example, you're not working on Miami Connection just yet. You're focusing more on Sharknado 2?
Yeah, we're focused on that now. I'm trying to think if we ever have crossed over. It's been close before, yeah, where we'll have to, we have to write lines for the trailer, so we'll sort of visit the movie long in advance of it and pull out some moments. And, so, yeah, we're pretty familiar with all of them, well in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, the whole thing, you guys are making comments through movies, which isn't something that people usually enjoy if you're, say, in a movie theater, per se. But, going into a RiffTrax live event, obviously people know what they're getting themselves into. But I know personally, I always got yelled at when I was little for making comments during movies, yelled at by the people around me, I should say. And even sometimes as an adult, I get yelled at from my wife when I do it. But Were you always the same way kind of growing up, and that's kind of how, obviously the stuff you probably said during movies was a lot funnier than the stuff I said during movies, but, were you kind of the same way growing up? Probably just about 10 times more than I was, though?
Oh, I wouldn't assume that mine were any better than yours, trust me on that. But yeah, I mean, I grew up sort of, I don't know why, we're just sort of talking back to your medium and finding it really funny. My brothers and I used to always, repeat to each other dumb little things and pull them out. I think that a lot of people, a lot of people, but not most people, like to do that. Some people are oblivious to that. And it's funny, you talk about the talking in the theater and having people tell you to shut up. There was actually a concern in the room because the room has its own following, and we actually did get a couple people saying, like, I want to see the room, and here's these three idiots up on stage talking during my beloved room. So I thought that was very funny.
Do you, when you go to see movies now in theaters, do you still do that, or do you kind of have to resist a little bit?
No, I don't do it anymore because it is really annoying. I mean, you think about it, like if you're watching a really bad movie, there's occasionally you'll get into a crowd of people who suddenly the whole crowd is like, yeah, you know what, this is bad, and if somebody's making comments, who cares? And maybe 1 out of 30 of them are actually funny. Mm-hmm. But if it's not that, which is, like I say, extremely rare, then they're almost never welcome. I mean, even if they're mildly amusing, it's like, hey, I'm still a little bit into the movie, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's those and the people who have that really, like, over obnoxious laugh at the dumbest parts of movies that always annoy me. And off air, I had mentioned your Twitter account, which is at Michael J. Nelson. You seem pretty active on Twitter. How has that changed things for you as far as, being in the entertainment industry before Twitter? How has it been different since it's kind of come about and really exploded?
Well, it's interesting. When we started Mystery Science, not long after that, really the Internet sort of, as a fan-sharing thing, kind of grew up with us, where we had fairly close contact with fans and kind of knew what they were saying about our show from, excuse me, there's that Nick Nolte disease creeping in. From the beginning, we kind of had that interaction. So it's not a great deal different, but it's fun to be able to reach out with your style of humor to groups that, have never heard of Mystery Science, don't know what RiffTrax is or whatever, but still just have an outlet for getting your humor out there, and then interacting with people who, directly, like one-on-one, where they just get back to you and interacting with them. I find that a lot of fun, and on Facebook and everything as well. So, yeah, I don't know that it's changed much other than I do enjoy that connection and knowing, because our product is so close to the people who buy it, that is, we're not putting it in stores and hoping some stranger's going to go up and get it. We're actually making it for the people who are buying it directly, and so to kind of have that connection with them is nice.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you're one of the not few, but one of the good ones to follow, I would say, because some people out there really just kind of retweet random things, and you at least put out funny tweets and things of that nature. One I can think of off the top of my head was about how road cyclists think they are versus how everybody else sees them, because even 3-year-olds ride bicycles, and me, where I live, there's a velodrome, which is a big place for road cyclists. I can relate tenfold. I mean, they're way into it, more than they should be.
Yeah, I say that I've done many miles as a road cyclist myself, but I just never, and that's what got me close to knowing those guys, is they really are like obnoxious about their sport. It's like, calm down. First of all, you look ridiculous wearing what you're wearing. That is not cool. I mean, and you're in a suburban neighborhood with this $12,000 bike, like you're shaving a quarter second off your time as you go to the grocery store. I think it's just shit.
I had the chance I had a great opportunity to meet and speak with Joel Hodgson this past May. He came to Wizard World in Philadelphia. And one of the things that had come up in our conversation was the possibility of a reboot of Mystery Science Theater. If something like that ever came to fruition, is that something that you think you yourself would like to be a part of? Would you like to just rather stick to RiffTrax, or would you see if maybe you could juggle both?
I probably wouldn't, just because RiffTrax is, full-time plus, and it's just a little bit of a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, there's something about, the Mystery Science thing it's kind of a young man's thing in a way, like where it's a puppet-based, and sort of more goofy and colorful in a way. And I look at RiffTrax as more of a kind of a voice acting thing and writing thing. I know that maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'm not sure it would fit. I'm not sure I could go back in time and sort of recapture that. So I probably wouldn't, but mostly for time constraints.
Yeah.
You never know. I would never say never, but...
Yeah. I know we're running short on time, but one final question for you, and it's a quick answer. Any chance we're going to see the RiffTrax Live of The Room released on DVD?
I honestly don't know. I think it's doubtful, because it's Mr. Wiseau's creation.
Yeah.
It's out of our hands, and so I don't know. It's a big question mark.
Well, he was pretty supportive of it too, wasn't he? Tweeting about it when you guys were doing the live riff.
He was very kind about it. I give him a lot of credit because he does not like the product. He made that clear in his interviews, but he understood what we were doing.
Yeah.
And as he had a stake in it, he was happy to support it. But yeah, not a lot of people would do that. I mean, we're not kind to the man. And, so,
no, not at all.
Yeah, it takes a lot of fortitude to just go, I don't care. I'm just going to get my product out there and makes me a little jingle, and so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, but we'll see.
That's pretty cool.
We'll see an MP3 of it at least, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. That'll at least hold me over. I can at least sync it with the movie and relive that whole night.
Yeah.
So,
Then you have to own the movie on DVD. That's the problem.
Very true. Yeah.
What have you sampled the Blu-ray yet?
I have not. I didn't see The Room until I saw it. Until I saw you guys do the live riff.
Well, The Room was released on Blu-ray.
Yeah. He released it on Blu-ray. Go online and look for image search The Room DVD, and then image search The Room Blu-ray. He made some changes to the artwork of his face, and it's hilarious and bizarre and shocking. But also the Blu-ray has a bunch of extras that are very edifying for you if you have any interest in knowing what went on behind the scenes. So
I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure we mention, before we let you go, we want to make sure you mention, obviously, Sharknado 2 is coming up. The live show is going to be on July 9th, and the encore is on July 16th, followed by your live riff of Miami Connection on October 1st, with the encore on October 6th, and Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, December 3rd, with the encore on December 15th. I will be in attendance for all of the said riffs, as well as any of them in the future that you do. I love coming out to see you guys. It totally makes my night when I come out.
Oh, that's so great to hear. Thank you so much.
So, I have one more question, but I'll ask you one after we end this interview. So we're going to wrap this up. But we want to send people to check out you on Twitter at Michael J. Nelson, as we said, and of course follow RiffTrax at RiffTrax, Trax with an X, and check out RiffTrax.com for all the live shows you guys have done, and that's where they can buy tickets to all your live riffs and find out locations around them that are actually going to be showing them in theaters. So. But Mike, thanks again for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
My pleasure. It was great talking to you.
So, all right, guys, we'll be right back with the showcast after this quick break. All right, everybody, welcome back to the showcast, and it's time to move on with this week's special guest. So back in season 1, we had the opportunity to speak with Kevin Murphy, and last season, season 2, we spent some time with Mike Nelson. Well, now we're in our 3rd season, and I'm very excited that we get to round out the RiffTrax trifecta. He was a writer on Mystery Science Theater 3000, and even eventually took over as the voice of Crow T. Robot. Now he's one of the 3 guys that make up the wonderful trio that is RiffTrax. Please welcome Mr. Bill Corbitt. Bill, thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah. I do have to say, before we go into anything else, I was at your RiffTrax Live Time Chasers a couple weeks ago, and bravo to another wonderful live show.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love it. I'll be completely honest with you. I have been to all 19 of your live events, and I will continuously plan to keep going to all of them.
Well, gosh, I like that kind of honesty. Any candor that basically says I'm attending your stuff and enjoying it is the kind of truth telling I like.
It says a lot this time around too. It's one thing I particularly noticed, especially this time, because you guys actually had some stiff competition that Thursday night.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was, for any listeners that don't know, that was the same night as the unofficial opening of Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah,
so,
we didn't know that when we got the date, and it actually did cost us some movie screens because, as unofficial as it is, I mean, there's that slow creep of, of like you can see it first before the other people who are seeing it first now. So some theaters, at least, I don't know if it was all of them, were playing it, before midnight. So it actually was playing Thursday night.
Yeah.
Not just, when the calendar turned. So those fans of Cap were, were kind of torn, and I think we lost a few of them. We just don't have the cool shields as he does.
Well, I mean, I will say I had the opportunity to see Civil War. I had already seen it by that time. I went to a press screening of it, so I was fully committed to, the time.
Yeah, you're the coolest of the cool kids then.
That's what I like to think. But I mean, it says a lot, because even though there was a lot of people in the theater that night, and a majority of them were there for Civil War, there was still quite a good crowd in the theater for Time Chasers, at least in the theater that I was in. So
well, that's good. I mean, I guess the way we were trying to tell people, Civil War's going to be there for a couple of days more at least. So
yeah,
we won't be. So get there Thursday, would you?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, hopefully you guys did well, too, in the replay, because I know you guys do the replays as well.
Yeah, we did, and that's been a real go-to for us, that when it has its encore, people who are at the work or whatever get to see it. And we will, at some point, this is one of the shows that we will be able to release as digitally on our site too. So
yeah, that's one thing I know. Anytime I have a ton of the audio tracks from the website as well, as including, I bought the DVD of the very first one, which was Plan 9 from Outer Space, and
yeah.
And I even have the shirt, and I still wear it every once in a while, of the "Hi, I'm Bob Executive. Which way is business?"
That became a surprise favorite line of people. We just put out on social media. We're going to do a best of RiffTrax 10-year anniversary reel for our upcoming show, and we were trying to just kind of get the temperature of people. Like, what's your favorite lines from 10 years? And Bob Executive kept coming up.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorites. It was one of those things that the moment I saw that shirt pop up on your site, it's like, yep, that's an insta-buy. I gotta have that one. I mean, and it just speaks loads too of a lot. I mean, there have been times, I know I mentioned this to Kevin when we spoke to him. You guys did the RiffTrax Live of Night of the Living Dead, and which still to this day is one of my personal favorites out of all the ones that I've seen. And there's so many, I guess, hidden lines. I don't want to call them hidden lines, but there's so many treasured lines that they're so under the radar. You don't expect them to be hits, like, as you mentioned, with Bob Executive. And I remember just one particular line, and I can't remember if it was you or if it was Kevin that said it, but there was just, it was a line that floored me easily for a good 4 minutes that I missed, the next 4 minutes of that riff. I had to watch it, and I've watched it a number of times digitally too. So,
what was the line?
It was, they had Barbara walking towards the fireplace, and it was just somebody going doot-de-doot bonk and like into the wall.
Oh,
And I don't know why it floored me, but it floored me. I had tears in my eyes.
we wore you down, Ben. We just wore you down.
You had to have, but I mean, it works. But as I'd mentioned, there's been about like 19 live events so far. You mentioned, 10 years coming up, and this MST3K reunion, which I'm really thrilled about, is going to be the 20th live event.
Yeah, we have all kinds of nice round numbers going on here. 20th show, 10-year anniversary.
Is that kind of like a
reunion?
I was going to say, is that like a little Birdemic humor right there? The round
well,
numbers?
it is. Like we were joking about that. I was like, the Birdemic guy would love this.
Exactly.
Zeros at the end of everything.
All the round numbers. See, that right there should tell you I'm a fan that I knew that reference.
Very well done there.
I know I had the opportunity last summer to meet and interview Joel Hodgson, who was one of the creators and you worked with Mystery Science Theater, and this was before the announcement of the reboot of the show was coming out. So I have to assume that the reboot is a good reason, as to part of the reason why this reunion is happening. But how did this reunion come about?
Well, I guess it was because a couple of things happened. First of all, Shout Factory, which we had a sort of a casual relationship with, at least RiffTrax, that is, bought the rights to MST3K and kind of changed the whole ownership thing changed, and that loosened a lot of things up. And they started offering old episodes of MST3K, the original series, for us to sell on RiffTrax, which was kind of cool for us. And, we just started doing a lot of cross-promotion of each other's Kickstarters, basically. Yeah. We crowdfunded for each other. And then, I think I will take credit for this idea, or blame, I guess, if this is a debacle. I just had this idea, like, why don't we, celebrate RiffTrax's 10-year anniversary by having an MST3K reunion, since this is kind of an exciting year for that world and just for fans of the show, for all sorts of reasons. And we also have this RiffTrax app coming out, and it's just, there's a lot of cool stuff happening on that front. So I threw it out there, and to my great delight, my partners said, yeah, that's not a bad idea. It just seems kind of possible in a way that it didn't a couple of years ago. So I think I first asked Frank and Trace, and Bridget and Mary Jo have been doing some RiffTrax for us too. So we asked them, and that we kind of knew they would be on board, because we did a Sketchfest show for them at San Francisco Sketchfest, and then we threw it out to Joel, who was like in the thick of the Kickstarter at the moment, but eventually he said yeah, and we asked Jonah to do it, the new host of the new MST3K. He's a great guy, and he's on board. So the only person who kind of wasn't into it, he's a friend of mine, so I don't want to cast any aspersions on. He just kind of wasn't up for it. Was Josh Weinstein, the original Tom Servo back in the super early days.
Yeah.
And Dr. Earhart. And that it makes me a little sad, because Josh is incredibly funny, really good on his feet. Anybody who saw Cinematic Titanic knows that he's really sharp up there. He's a really good stand-up comic, as seasoned as any of us, and more so at stand-up comedy than most of us. But outside of that, we have the full deck pretty much, and so I'm really thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it's exciting for both parties, for both Mystery Science Theater and RiffTrax, and you guys are still going strong with RiffTrax, as you mentioned. 10 years since you've been doing. Is it 10 years for RiffTrax or 10 years for the live events?
10 years for RiffTrax.
Okay.
Period. Mike started out kind of doing almost like a pilot version of it in 2006 for a couple of movies, which he did on his own. And I think, as good as a writer and performer as Mike was, it just felt a little lonely, just this one guy commenting. It just kind of needed the interaction. So I was busy working in Hollywood then, but he called Kevin, and Kevin did a couple with him, and then he called me, and then I did a couple with him, and then we just put the band back together. So it was really just a couple of months into RiffTrax that we became the thing that we are now, and it was in 2006. And since then, it's been kind of full throttle.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know I don't even remember how I discovered that RiffTrax was a thing. I know it was before the live events, because I know I had a number of the audio tracks before the live events had started, but I've been a fan for quite a long time of RiffTrax. Obviously, I've been a fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000 for the longest time as well. And, I mean, it's been over 25 years that you guys have been doing this kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there from the get-go, but I think, the first KTMA days were 1988, I want to say, so it's really long time ago.
Yeah.
And then, and then Comedy Central, and then Sci-Fi, so between, it's, wow.
Yeah. It's
fun. My God.
Did you ever think when you first joined this group, this is something you'd still be doing now?
I don't know. I guess not. I mean, I never really thought that far ahead anyway. But, by the time I got to the show, it was an established thing. I was a writer, but it was already, pretty dang popular. So I knew that I was lucky enough to be getting into something really cool and good. Unlike the founding fathers, who were just like, I don't know, we might just be doing this for a couple of people in Minneapolis. But yeah, I mean, once the show was canceled in 1999, they did run it for a couple of years after that on the Sci-Fi Channel. But I thought, wow, that's pretty much it. We tried Kevin and Mike and I tried a couple of projects, and they had varying degrees of success, but nothing went, huge.
Yeah.
And then RiffTrax in 2006 kind of got it going again. It seemed like a version of Mystery Science Theater without the whole thing. And there's parts of the show that I certainly miss. Like I was just talking with an old colleague today, Jeff Stonehouse, who was our director of photography, about how I missed the shoot days, because those were the real party when the crew came in and all that. But I do like the ease and mobility of RiffTrax, especially since I started a family after the whole thing. I started it with my wife. I should just throw it in a test tube. And really, when my kids were young, it was really kind of a handy thing to have without the time commitment of Mystery Science Theater, frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to be a dad at home for big stretches. And, they're growing out of that where they really need that now, but it was really great timing. And, our first live show was actually 3 years later in 2009. We had Jonathan Colton was our guest musician. We don't really have guests so much anymore because nobody seemed to really be there. I think the main event seemed to be the movie and the movie riffing, for better or worse, but
yeah,
not to say we won't have guests again. But.
Yeah, I remember the first one, which was Plan 9. You guys had a host, which I can't remember her name.
Veronica Belmont.
That's
She's
right.
Sort of a tech reporter, and was a fan of Mystery Science Theater. That was poor Veronica. She's such a cool person, but she got thrown at live show hosting was not, beamed out across the movie theaters. We were all slightly terrified to be doing a live feed, and it's weird. Now we're really super cash about it.
Yeah,
exactly. And we probably shouldn't be, because all kinds of things could go wrong. Although last year, I don't know if you saw the show where we were all sweating to death. That was hilarious. You guys are 19 shows in, working on the 20th. Did you ever think at the beginning these live performances would become as popular as they are, or be going as long as they have? You know what? I didn't dare hope, but I'm really glad because they are just so much fun. And even though the first one was scary, I knew it was like, oh man, this is the thing that was missing here for the last 3 years was the audience, or just a little more contact with the people who enjoy our stuff. And we had been doing Comic-Con, we would do a couple of panels at Comic-Con, but it wasn't quite the same thing as actually doing an out-and-out show.
Yeah.
And luckily we hooked up with the right company to kind of get it across the plate just, digitally and physically into movie theaters. I think when we first were thinking about this and we were talking to Fathom Events, Kevin and I went to see a Fathom Events version of This American Life, the National Public Radio show, and we started to think, there's some kind of clever ways they're making this work, and we think we could actually do it. And we talked to Camp Digital, and they were like, oh yeah, here's the solution to this little challenge. I mean, we show the screen mostly, but we show you here and there, and so now we have kind of a template, and it's just so much fun, and I'm really, really grateful that we keep getting to do this.
Yeah, and I'm always excited too anytime I see you guys announce another Kickstarter program too, because I'd like to say I'm an investor in RiffTrax.
Thank you very much.
I've given to both. I believe it's the 2 Kickstarters that you did, or was there one for this Mystery Science Theater?
No, we've done 3 now.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was 2 or 3. I know I've given to them all, so I can't remember. And I know I gave to the Mystery Science Theater 3000 reboot one with Joel as well. So
that was Jagundo.
Yeah, that was a really good turnout that they had before too. But I mean, do you have, out of all the, I know it's probably tough. It's probably like picking your favorite child, but has there been a favorite out of all the live riffs that you guys have done?
I don't know that there has been. For some reason, I was really fond of our earlier ones, of Reefer Madness, of all of me, and I think that might just be because my elderly parents have been going to see them all along, and for some reason my mom really loved Reefer Madness, and it just surprised me and tickled me with all our pot jokes in there. No, I don't know if there's one that I really liked. I mean, The Room was a real blast to do because I just can't get enough of that crazy movie. I loved Birdemic. The ones that were a little bit harder, Godzilla was a little bit harder because it was just so loud and multi-channeled and Confuso-Vision.
Yeah.
Luckily, we've had nothing that's real. I can't even remember even. I think it was Sharknado 2 where we were sweating to death, but I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
It's all a blur now, son.
Yeah.
But that whatever that movie was, that was an indelible thing to remember, even though, in the end it was kind of a comedy bit to us, so that was almost worth it that it happened.
Yeah.
And nobody, passed out and had to be taken out on a stretcher, luckily. But yeah, I mean, I've loved them all.
Well, I have too, so it works out as a fan too. I know I've loved every one of them that I've gone to. Any that you haven't done yet that you would like to do?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do one of the Japanese monster movies, if possible. They're hard to dislodge from the people with the rights, but I would like to get a good either Japanese monster movie, or something like Prince of Space, or I just have a special fondness for those. I'd love to do something big like Twilight, that could just be a pipe dream.
I have such a distaste for Twilight. I've never seen the movie. I refuse to see the movie. But if you guys ever did a live riff of it, I would be there.
Okay. Well, see, we got to do it for that alone.
That would be the only way I would watch that movie.
They have very little incentive to make that work for us. We have discovered that. But yeah, I mean, barring that, then maybe something like we did the Ben Affleck version of Daredevil at, oh, sorry, my dog is being noisy.
That's fine.
At San Francisco Sketch Fest a couple of years ago, more than a couple, and that was really fun too. So something that's in that sort of mid-ranged, pretty bad movie, but big blockbuster would be fun.
Yeah. I think I know you mentioned Twilight. I think it might have been Kevin that mentioned it. Wasn't Twilight one of the original plans for the first Kickstarter?
Yeah, we tried to be honest about it. I don't know if we were just a little too cutesy about it. I hope not. But our basic thing was we want to riff Twilight. We're going to try to back the money truck up to to the studio and say, here, give us Twilight. But barring that, here's some other ones we could do.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we couldn't convince them, even with all the cash we had on hand for it. And we offered, if anyone was really super felt, that was too much of a bait and switch, we gave them their money back. But we did get Starship Troopers out of it, which was a lot of fun.
That was fantastic.
A tough one to do.
Well, you pulled it off well, sir.
What's that?
I said you pulled it off well.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot. We ran out of bug jokes after a while. I think it's fair to say. But we came close.
I was actually on vacation down the shore when that one came around, and my friend and I, who was on vacation with me, we actually found a theater about 35 miles away from where we were staying that had it. So
cool.
We made sure we went out and we saw it while we were on vacation, which was cool.
Oh, that's I appreciate it, guys.
I know we're running short on time, but before we let you go, what can we expect from this reunion? Is it a film? Is it a bunch of shorts?
Yeah, it is a bunch of shorts, and we're trying to get a good mix and have everybody do what they want. And we're gonna, just turn the stage over a couple of times to our former colleagues. So it is going to be a little bit more of a variety show format in a way, although all riffing. And Mike and Kevin and I will come out and we'll do one, and then we'll, introduce the groups as they come up. And then at the end, we'll put it all together and have one big riff-a-palooza with everybody. So it'll be glorious chaos, I hope.
Can we expect any surprises by chance?
I don't know. I
Okay.
guess it depends on what you think is a surprise. I don't know that there's any more of a surprise than what I just said.
That's true.
A lot of laughs, surprising humor.
I already know it's enough to get me in theaters, and we're going to encourage, so many other people to go to theaters as well. And hopefully my other two co-hosts, which I mentioned, who aren't as big of fans as I am, maybe I can finally get them out to a RiffTrax Live event as well. So, but I know last I checked, I think in-person seats, I think you guys were sold out, or just a couple individual seats.
We are sold out, yeah. We had one final seat yesterday, and we kind of made a little joke of that on social media. But yeah, that went too.
Yeah. One of these days I'll get down to or get out to where you guys are and see a live show. I'd love to come see you guys live one time.
Oh yeah, it's fun. You get, the danger of being sweated on alone is worth the thrill.
Well, as I mentioned,
we're like Gallagher, but grosser.
You guys, yeah, it's good. Like the splatter zone in the first couple of rows, the sweat zone. But as I mentioned, we're definitely going to encourage our listeners to check out, the upcoming MST3K reunion, as well as all future live events and all your audio tracks and your digital shorts and such on RiffTrax.com. And for more information on the live events, they can go to RiffTrax.com or FathomEvents.com. Tickets are on sale now for the Mystery Science Theater reunion. I already have mine, so I'm already good to go.
Very good. Where are you seeing it?
Yeah, I'm highly anticipating this one because
Where are you seeing it?
Oh, I'm seeing it. It's the Warrington Crossing Theater in Warrington, PA.
Very cool.
So, but Bill, thanks so much. I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you spending some time with me tonight.
Oh, thanks, Ben. It's been real fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have you on again to talk about some future events as well.
Very good.
So, all right, guys, stick around. We'll be back with more Showcast right after this break.